Hey guys, Drifter here. Today I have an incredible story to tell you about a live exorcism that I witnessed at Denny's last night. It's gonna be Black Ops 3 in the background, but just to listen to this. So my wife and I went to Denny's to get some late night food. If you're not in the US or if you've never seen a Denny's, it's a 24-hour chain restaurant that might as well be invisible during the day because nobody goes there until it's after midnight, when you're drunk, when you're high, when you want to buy some meth from some sketchy bikers, when you just want to fight with somebody, or when the club just kicks you out and you have nowhere else to go, you go to Denny's. I go to Denny's not because I'm any of those things, but just because they serve fluffy golden pancakes all night long. I get a full breakfast menu, as many waffles, crepes, pancakes, stuffed this and that, French toast, eggs, anything I want, and you always get dinner and a show. Real simple breakfast food, real crazy clientele, and when we went there, you had your regulars. You had the angry guy who just got off a long shift, who's drinking coffee and eating what I guess would be a breakfast. You've got the meth-dealing bikers, you've got the drunk couple that's fallen out of their seats, you have the lone waitress that's taking care of everybody, so she sits me down in a section with everybody, and that's when I noticed the group of people that we're sitting next to are exorcists or demonologists or something like that. I'm looking and they're on their phone talking to somebody, and as soon as I sit down, I hear somebody say, yeah, we've got higher level demons that are inhabiting your house, and something about the spiritual planes, and I'm like, what in the world? And I filmed a little bit of it, you can see on Twitter, but I kind of sat at an odd angle where I couldn't film them without being seen. And basically you had a woman who looked like Pat from the 90s comedy It's Pat, plus internet points to you if you even know what I'm talking about here. Then you have a guy who probably doesn't look very much like Pablo from the Evil Dead TV series, that is, but the mannerisms and the manner of speaking and the way he acts is very much so like Pablo. And as soon as I sit down, I'm hearing this woman on the phone just jabber, because they've got her on Audible and not on headphones for some reason, and going on about demons and ghosts and haunting, and they're talking about higher level entities and spirits and different planes of existence. And at first I thought they were watching a movie. I thought they were doing some sort of viral marketing thing. They were doing like some sort of spooky omegle or whatever the hell. But no, these two knuckleheads were doing remote ghost hunting and an exorcism via FaceTime from the Denny's I was eating in. The poor woman on the other end sounded frantic, desperate, panicking. She was being led on super hard. She was getting scammed super bad. And one of the two, the woman who looks like Pat, claims to have been a psychic that can remote view the house. And the other guy that looks like Pablo from the Evil Dead says that he's a medium and he can communicate with spirits and sometimes even cast down lower level demons remotely. And, together they work together to rid the world of demons or monsters or whatever. And I'm just listening to this kind of stuff. And bear in mind, this is at a Denny's. There's other people around. There's other stuff going on. There's music. There's TV. But they're doing it. They're selling it hard here. And apparently they already ordered food, because halfway into this exorcism, I just noticed that they're getting pancakes and hash browns and the Denny's Grand Slam, and they're just sitting there eating and talking to this woman. And I kid you not, these two would take turns eating and talking. Like, they would signal to each other, and then one person would mute their mic and they'd flip the FaceTime, and the other one would eat some breakfast for a couple minutes and they'd flip it back around, and the guy that's not talking would go back to eating until they had eaten their food. And they kept the phone mostly close to their face, pointed at the ceiling. The music was low, the TV was low, a lot of things were low. So the woman on the other end probably had no idea that her demon hunters that she hired, or exorcists, were sitting in a Denny's doing this. She was completely oblivious to the fact that these two clowns were getting a late night breakfast while hunting demons. And at some point while they're on the phone with her, they get into an argument over the levels of demons. They disagree on which type of demon is stronger than the other one, on if Satan is the final boss, so to speak, who really rules hell, where is the shadow realm, how does heaven work. And they're arguing with each other about it while this other woman is on the phone trying to take advice. And I just personally found that very funny, because these are supposed to be the experts that know this kind of stuff, but apparently the experts have different religious beliefs. So changing gears a little bit, they go back to talking to this lady and kind of leading her on. They do cold reading, leading questions. They kind of see what she bites. And very loudly I hear, when you or your mother dreamed, do you ever travel to other dimensions? And the lady on the phone's like, wait, what are you talking about? And it's like, you dream, right? You have dreams, you sleep, because this lady lives in a house with her mother. And she says, yes. Do either of you go to other dimensions or strange places when you sleep? Do you astral project and travel on the astral planes? And she's like, I don't think so. I have vivid dreams, but I don't, go to other dimensions. I don't know about my mom. And they tell her, well, you better ask your mom about this, because if she's traveling in astral planes, she might have brought something back that could haunt the house or stick to you for life, to where you could move and it would just follow you forever. Which I'm dying at this point, because it's literally the plot of the movie Insidious, the horror movie that you may have seen. It was very popular when it came out. In that movie, a child dreams and does astral projection and accidentally brings a demon back to haunt the family, so they go fight it in the dreamland or whatever. It's literally the plot of that movie, and they're telling this poor woman it like it's fact. And just a side note, I want you to imagine if this were real, okay? Imagine instead of two con artists, these are two real demon hunters, like Supernatural or whatever, like Great Value Supernatural. And imagine they're tired, they've been, fighting hell's forces all day, they need to eat some pancakes and hash browns and recuperate while they're handling these lower level demons. And imagine how proud their mothers must be. All the moms are going to go sit around at the sewing table or the gambling table or whatever. I don't know, moms meet somehow, right? And one mom will be like, oh, how's your son doing? My son just graduated from Harvard. And, their mom will be like, oh, Harvard? Well, my son cast down 9 demons this week and defeated Mephistopheles the Deceiver while eating pancakes. How's that Harvard treating your little Jimmy there? Their parents must be so proud of them. But anyway, let me get back on track to these shenanigans. And I'm trying super hard not to troll these people at this point and not to bust out laughing, but I'm listening and I'm recording and live tweeting and stuff. But apparently the poor woman that was haunted had broken a mirror at some point, and she asked them if it could be bad luck, and the answer is, of course, absolutely. And our Denny'S demon hunting duo informs them that if she puts the mirror back together, if she still has the pieces, then she can fix her bad luck and maybe run the spirits away. Well, no, she's already thrown the mirror away. Okay, well then in that case, what I want you to do is check underneath your bed to make sure that no little pieces of glass are under there, because it might have opened up a portal to the other side. And they're like, nope, nothing under the bed. And then just maximum bullshit mode. The psychic lady says, well, good news for you. You can actually buy a new mirror to help with your luck. But the good thing about it is if you buy a new mirror and let us cast a spell on it, you can trap the demon in the mirror and then just get rid of it. Kind of like the movie Oculus, which coincidentally I did do a video on because I found it to be very silly of a movie, because the monster in that one's so easy to defeat. But they're going on movie plots, and this woman on the phone was eating it hook, line, and sinker. She must be out of this world, desperate and frantic. I don't know what her problem is, but it must have been bad for her to contact this group to help her. So somehow they started talking about shadow people. I don't know where the shadow people conversation came from, but it did come in, and they mentioned the Shadow Man. Have you seen the Shadow Man? Do you know how powerful he is? And I kid you not, I hear it loud and clear over everything else in the restaurant. Did you invite the Shadow Man into your house? He can invite other demons without your permission. The Shadow Man's too powerful for you to handle. And at this point, my interest is temporarily piqued, because the Shadow Man is very closely tied to the Shrouded Woman. It's sort of a new age paranormal urban legend, and what I find interesting about it is I have personally seen the Shrouded Woman in this image, and 2 people that I know have also seen the Hat Man as portrayed in this image. And that's what they're talking about with the Shadow Man. They describe him with the hat and how he dresses and all that. So I'm temporarily interested in that maybe they know something here. And then the woman asked, what is the Shadow Man? And he's like, oh, well, he's kind of like Slender Man. He's really powerful. And she's like, oh, Slender Man, he's really scary. And now I'm dying, dude. They're talking about Slender Man. They're talking about inviting other demons and playing with Ouija boards. And I'm trying super hard not to bust out laughing. I'm covering my face. I'm shoveling my pancakes in there. Same way they're shoveling in like hash browns and pancakes in between demon hunting advice. I'm trying so hard not to make a scene, but I want to so badly just go up and be like, hey, I've seen the Shadow Man. The Shadow Man's for real. I also thought about walking up to him and saying, the Shadow Man sends his regards, and like turning off their phone, just like grabbing it and clicking it off, just so that it would like make the woman on the other end flip out. I'm a bit of a troll. I can't help myself sometimes. But I phase out for a second and come back to it only to hear, well, we know it's not a wraith because a wraith has physical form, and you can't hurt this entity with that axe, because the woman on the phone purchased an axe with the intention of protecting herself from ghosts or demons. She bought it from a pawn shop here. I have no idea how or why she thought this was a good idea. And they try to cold read her, and I hear him say, "Who was murdered with that axe?" And the lady on the phone is like, "What? Who died by that axe?" And she's like, "I don't know. What are you talking about? I get the sense that somebody died," and she just wasn't biting, so they changed it to, maybe the axe is a symbol of something good and powerful. Maybe you should keep it around, not to use it, but something, for a spiritual, I don't know, oneness, a boost, a motivator. And the other guy's like, no, you better be careful. If it's a poltergeist, they might pick up the axe and hit you with it. And the woman's like, "Oh no, I'll get rid of the axe right now." I'm crying at this point. I'm just choking back tears. The Denny's waitress interrupts these two people to ask if they need coffee, and I hear click, click. And I'm like, there's no fucking way. She just muted her. They just muted their mics to talk to the waitress to tell her that they were full and they needed to check and all this kind of stuff. And then this waitress goes away, click, click. And it just so happened to be when their client was talking. So without missing a beat, they were able to handle their meals and orders, and the poor client had no idea what was going on. And as they're wrapping up eating, kind of almost out of nowhere, the lady on the forum is informed by our resident psychic that she is running out of time because apparently she's paying by the minute or maybe by the hour or block. I don't really know. But they legit finish eating, inform her that her spiritual counseling session is up, and that they've taken care of most of the major demons remotely via phone, and they will mail her some crucifixes so that she can hang up and keep her house demon free, and thank you for your business and this kind of stuff. And then they just get up and leave, and that's the end of the story. No demons showed up, no climax. Satan was probably rolling in laughter just as much as I was, but that's legit what happened last night at Denny's. And I don't think in my entire life I've ever had a show at Denny's quite so fantastic. So if you're ever in the US, I would recommend that you go to Denny's anytime past 1 in the morning, and you're pretty much guaranteed to get a show and a meal. Guys, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, favorite, and subscribe. Drifter out.